Since we all met on the 9th of March at Tarago Town Hall, a lot's been going on. And probably one of the most important things is to put together a plan of management for the long-term management of this site to ensure the health, safety and welfare of everybody in the community. We've started that work already, and by the 25th of May, we'll have a plan of management back with the EPA. The other things that are happening is that we're not waiting for this plan before we take action. Already we've covered the sleepers that were on site, and we've also had those sleepers tested to check the level of contamination. That waste is now classified as general purpose waste and will be safely removed from site in the coming days. We've also looked at dust suppression across the site and have done a trial of a new polymer to keep the dust suppressed across. That seems to be working well, and we intend to extend that over the rest of the areas in the corridor where we can. We've also kicked off a big program of testing. There are over 300 sites being test sites across the area, and that's in response to the 28 properties that have looked for contamination testing, as well as the 20 households that are looking for further blood tests. We've been in touch with every one of those households, and everybody in those homes that wants blood testing is now getting that done.
Hello, my name's Stephen Maxwell and I'm a Senior Contaminated Land Management Consultant with Ramboll. Ramboll are a multidisciplinary engineering consultancy with 16,000 staff around the world. In Australia, our focus is on environment and health consulting. Ramboll are engaged by John Holland Rail on behalf of Transport for New South Wales to assess and provide management advice on contamination associated with the former Woodlawn ore concentrate loadout facility in the rail corridor at Tarago. Many of you may have seen me on the 9th of March at a community briefing at Tarago Hall. The objective of our work since the 9th of March has been to further explore potential exposure of the Tarago community to contamination from the rail corridor. You may have seen a team of Ramboll scientists and engineers working in your community over the last few weeks. Today, the 1st of April, I'm speaking to you about the testing we've completed since the 9th of March. The objective of this work has been to further explore potential exposure of the Tarago community to contamination from the rail corridor. To do this, we've adopted the rail corridor as the source of contamination, and we've looked at pathways by which that contamination may cause exposure to the community. Those pathways are via airborne dust, via overland flow in surface water, via groundwater, and the testing that we'll talk to you about now targets each of those in turn. For the purposes of this presentation, I'll divide the assessment that we've completed into public spaces and private properties. In public spaces, we have assessed surface soils throughout the Tarago township and on the route from the mine to the rail corridor at a total of approximately 200 locations. We've sampled groundwater within the rail corridor at 4 locations and between the rail corridor and the Mulwaree River, including at Tarago Public School. We've assessed tank water and sediment at the hall, at the sports ground and at the showground. We've also assessed private properties where requested, and this assessment has included soils to a depth of up to ½ metre. We've collected over 200 soil samples from these private properties. We've also assessed tank water and tank sediment where rainwater tanks are present, groundwater where bores are present, and paint where the age of structures indicate a potential for lead base. Part of the brief that we were to complete included sampling of internal dust at private properties. However, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, we've suspended internal dust for the foreseeable future. This range and scope of testing was selected in response to community concerns raised on the 9th of March and to further investigate exposure pathways from contaminants within the rail corridor to the community. The 200 soil samples that we've collected within public spaces generally support conclusion that risks to the community associated with lead in surface soil are low and acceptable. However, there are 3 exceptions to this. The first exception is on an overland flow path from the rail corridor across Boyd Street. The second is along the former haul route from the mine to the rail corridor. And the third is adjacent, a former workshop on Mulwarry Street. Results from private property testing will be discussed with property owners separately. By the 7th of April, we expect to have established an air quality monitoring network, to have further groundwater data, to have completed all sampling of private properties where it's been requested, with the exception of internal dust, and to have further surface water and sediment sampling within the rail corridor and at downstream locations.
I encourage you to stay informed by using the website, email or phone to be in touch. We remain committed to keeping you informed and to making sure that everyone is safe.